Luke 10, verses 25 through 37. And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tempted him, saying, Master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He said unto him, What is written in the law? How readest thou? And he answering said, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. And Jesus said unto him, Thou hast answered right. This do, and thou shalt live. But he, the other man, the lawyer, willing to justify himself, said unto Jesus, And who is my neighbor? And Jesus answering said, A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment. In other words, they left him naked, and wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. And likewise a Levite, when he was at the place, came and looked on him, and passed by on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him, and went to him, and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And on the morrow, on the next day, when he departed, he took out 2 pence, which by the way is about 2 days' wages, and gave them to the host, and said unto him, Take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. Which now of these 3 thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And he said, the lawyer said, He that showed mercy on him. Then said Jesus unto him, unto the lawyer, Go, and do thou likewise. The Samaritan, whom Jesus said we must love as ourselves, which includes treating him as we would want to be treated, was like today's illegals. He was a foreigner. He was unwelcome. He was excluded from equal rights by law, and he was dehumanized by the entire nation of Israel. Today's illegals, like the Samaritan before them, still serve us patiently despite the dehumanization, working undesirable jobs for little pay under laws that leave them continually hunted and their families devastated, while registering proportionately minuscule complaint. Jesus tells us that our willingness to love these millions whom we have chosen to marginalize is the second most important thing to God that we can do. The Samaritan is not only the model of who to love, but of how to love. We must seek every opportunity to be a blessing to those who treat us like strangers, who do not want us within sight, who deport us from their world when they can and persecute us when they can't. By this standard, even if illegals mistreat us as much as the most anti-stranger rhetoric alleges, through their lawlessness and freeloading, we are still obligated to pick them up when they fall and give them all the opportunities we would want given to us were we in their shoes. It is not okay to dehumanize our Samaritans for breaking our laws against them entering our world. In other words, when people we don't welcome come anyway, their ignoring our rejection does not excuse our rejection. In other words, the violation of our past laws by past illegals does not excuse Christian voters from embedding the second greatest commandment into our future laws. James Hoffmeyer, in his book, The Immigration Crisis, reasons that Jesus did not associate illegals with Samaritans. Jesus was merely quoting from the context of Leviticus 19:33, which Hoffmeyer says has nothing to do with illegals. Here's what Hoffmeyer says. The New Testament citations are actually found in Leviticus, and Jesus is quoting that passage. The entire verse from Leviticus reads, "Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against one of your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord." That's verse 18. A few paragraphs later, this remarkable law is specifically applied to aliens. This is still James Hoffmeyer talking, and he quotes, "You shall love the alien as yourself, for ye were aliens in the land of Egypt," Leviticus 19:34. But Hoffmeyer goes on to explain that aliens does not include illegals. Now I'm talking, Hoffmeyer's done. Hoffmeyer makes two errors. First, Leviticus 19:33-34 does not limit our love only to those immigrants we have chosen to classify as legal. To back that up, go back to my notes on that passage, Leviticus 19, verses 33-34. Second, the parallels between the Samaritans of Jesus' time and the illegals of our time are too vivid to explain away. The Bible gives no examples of any immigrant denied legal permission to live in Israel with God's approval. This fact does not prove the Bible is irrelevant to America's immigration laws, which do deny millions of people living in our land legal permission to be here. What it proves is that our immigration laws fall short of God's standards.